All right, let's talk about this.
I want some nasty. Are we having fun yet?
All right, guys, so I'm going to be completely transparent with you guys. I was not initially even thinking about talking about this. I'm not crazy about individual awards, and I don't really get excited when they're announced, to be honest with you. But with that being said, Dejounte Murray responded, so we're going to talk about it. So first and foremost, when I saw the list, what I initially thought when I saw that Dejounte Murray didn't make all defense, I was like, oh, okay, he didn't make all defensive first team. And to me, it makes sense. That's fine. You know, especially Marcus Smart. He's a really good defender. Should Dejounte Murray be in that spot? Probably, yeah, but I was okay with that. But then I was like, wait a minute. It's not just first team. It's second team? How did DJ not make second team? And no disrespect to Thibault, but DJ was a better defender than Thibault this season. But that's just me. That's just how I view it. And I just kept it moving. And I said, whatever. You know, another award he's not going to make. And I really genuinely thought maybe DJ wouldn't say anything about it. But sure enough, he had something to say. So this is what Dejounte Murray had to say. We all know them lame awards are really playoff awards instead of regular season awards. Ha 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 ha. They can't play on my name for too much longer. That's what he had to say here. And then he responded with this. You don't never want to make a mother effer like me mad and add fuel to my fire. And then he said, I thrive off of hate and the non-believers. Watch. And honestly, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I'm a Spurs fan, okay? Dejounte Murray did his thing this season. He played phenomenal individually. He was a pretty good team guy as well. I have no faults with Dejounte Murray. There's nothing he could have done more to make all defensive team, okay? I would even say the losing isn't necessarily all his fault, okay? So it's not much he could have done, but the talking and getting high, I'm over it just overall. Like, it's not just him who did it. Lonnie Walker did it for a few seasons. I just don't care. To me, it's like, look, I just want to see my team thrive. I just want to see my team do well, and I want to see my team win. But with that being said, when I said it's not his fault about the losing, this is a segue, because I think you have to contextualize how these votes are being made. Now, first and foremost, when Dejounte Murray says that it's a regular season award, or it's a playoff award, not a regular season award, is that true? Well, it depends on what he means by that. So first and foremost, I do agree that it's a playoff award if you're saying that, well, what they're looking at is who won, who had a winning team. If he means that they vote while you're in the playoffs and you're playing well in the playoffs, that's not true, because all of the awards, all of the votes are in before the playoffs even start. But it's going to be some type of bias there, and I understand that. So to prove this, if you look at all the votes here, literally, and I could be missing somebody, but literally, Dejounte Murray is the only player in the voting categories that didn't make the playoffs. Everyone else made the playoffs. Like, I don't know what other proof you would need to know that, yes, it is very dependent on whether or not you make the playoffs or how good your team is. But here's the thing. I'm not going to necessarily fault the voters on that, because the reality of the situation is I don't necessarily know how these votes are 100% done, but that's always going to be a part of the picture. That's always going to be a part of the narrative, and that's always going to be a part of these awards that they give away. Now, I will say this, the fact that Dejounte Murray didn't make the playoffs and he's amongst all these other players that did, that speaks volumes of how well he played this season. And I just want to add this on too, before we get into like the winning, should it matter or whatnot. Chris Paul. So if you don't know, Chris Paul is a stealing monster, okay? Because a lot of people have made the argument, well, DJ, he has the most steals in the NBA right now. So why is he not in the defensive team? And I think that's a valuable argument, okay? That's a good argument. It's valid. But Chris Paul at the same time, he also had the most steals in a few seasons, quite a few seasons actually. But the difference is his teams were in the playoffs. I mean, even if we're talking about the 2007, 2008 Hornets, I mean, they were first in their division. And this is the same thing. If you just look through the history of guys who have been in these all defensive teams, they're usually on winning teams. No matter what, that's just reality. So what is it about this? How do I feel that they should start voting? What do I think? Well, honestly, I think that winning should always be a small part of the voting. You have to at least keep that in consideration, that did your defense, even in other awards, you're the MVP, did your style of play, did your hard work pay off? Did it result in your team winning? And I think that is important, but it shouldn't be the end all be all, especially something like this. This should be an exception to the rule, and he shouldn't be able to get snubbed like this. But at the same time, that's going to always be the case. I mean, look, let's just take one of the greatest players of all time, like away from basketball, okay? Let's talk about Tom Brady. Tom Brady has 7 championship rings. Could you tell me, unless you're like a big Tom Brady fan, could you tell me every single quarterback that he beat for his rings? Better yet, could you tell me who he played in the first round of those championship runs? Or better yet, could you tell me who was close to making the playoffs those seasons but didn't? You can't. It's all about narrative, and that's one thing that you have to keep in account when it comes to these awards. Now, I think that a way that the NBA could go about this, where these snubs don't necessarily happen, is if you go strictly by statistics, if you go strictly by objectivity, and you see every single category, every single advanced analytics, and you say, all right, this player did better in all these different situations. This player did better in the steal category. This player did better in the block. However you want to do it. I don't know how you want to contextualize it, but however you want to do it, right? I think that would be a tad bit better, but I would understand also why that necessarily shouldn't be a part of it. Because if we're talking about MVP, yesterday they said, well, the MVP is whoever just scores the most points. Then you're going to have guys playing more hero ball. You're going to have guys trying to get away with getting more statistical categories rather than having their team win. The end of the day, this is all I'm trying to say. Winning matters. It matters. It matters. It matters. And with these type of awards, even though it's a snub, even though it's BS, I understand where this comes from. It comes from narratives. It comes from the fact that you actually got to see these teams play. The Spurs have been bad for a little minute, and people say, well, it's the Spurs, that's why they don't air us. No, they don't air us because we're not a good team. It's not a fun team to necessarily watch for a majority NBA fans. So you're not even going to get a good taste of what type of player Dejounte Murray has been this season. And even if he's playing well, even though he's playing exceptional defense, it didn't result in any wins. So people are going to always contextualize that. They're going to always try to look at your win category. It's no way to get around that. Now, as far as DJ is concerned, I understand him being upset. But at the same time, I just want us to win. I don't care about all this. I don't care about the, wait until I show you, I don't care. I mean, if it fuels his fire and it results in wins, I'm all on board. But if it doesn't result in wins, I don't care. So that's just where I stand. Guys, let me know what you think. I still kind of don't have my voice. So I'm still getting over a cold. But if you guys want to support the channel, only $2 a month, Patreon, YouTube members. I'll get with you later. Till next time. Deuces.